I am excited to do this. Elise Archer is the founder of She Sells, a coaching program and community for women in sales who are revolutionizing the way sales is done. She is an international keynote speaker and host of She Sells Radio, where she shares best practices from female entrepreneurs and sales professionals who have accomplished extraordinary goals. Elise's client list includes New York Times bestselling authors, top 100 podcast hosts, and 8-figure entrepreneurs. Her insights have also been featured in major media, including Forbes and Inc. Elise is passionate about empowering women to sell in a way that leverages their natural gifts and helps them build influence, impact, and wealth along the way. Ladies, I'd like to introduce Elyse Archer.
Thank you so much, Gay. And oh my gosh, I just love being here with you and hearing about all the amazing work that you are doing too. And so here's what I'm actually thinking. I kind of am tempted to do a pivot from the normal PowerPoint yada yada presentation, which I can totally do for you. And I've got stuff for you on that. But what I'm almost wondering, because this seems like such a dynamic, close-knit group too, which I love, is I wonder if it's more helpful to even have just a conversation around building your personal brands and have more of kind of like a open forum. So I've got things I can teach. I've got all of that. But what I would be really curious to know, if you all are open to playing along with me here, is in the chat, what are some of what is your number one challenge or question when it comes to building your brand in your space? We have, if you all wouldn't mind just popping that in the chat, we have such a dynamic group here, from financial services to jewelry to cleaning solutions to a book. Okay, so Gay saying standing out among the competition. What else? And that's a super common one, right? Message to market reach, best way to get your brand out there, staying focused on a niche. From Marianne. Okay, what else? What else? Social media plan. Because there's all the things in all the places, right? That you could be time management. Okay, that's yeah.
Can you repeat your question quickly? Sorry, love.
Oh, of course, no problem. What's the number one challenge that you're bumping up against when it comes to your personal brand? I just wanted to get a sense, instead of just spewing a bunch of information at you. I would rather know, what is everyone actually needing, so that we can have a really targeted conversation here. Carrie saying consistent outreach and engagement. Elizabeth, this is so great. Thank you, everyone. Elizabeth is saying my brand is playful, which works well as a parent coach of younger kids, but I'm shifting more to middle school where playful doesn't sound as good of a fit, but that is who I am. The right message, how to encompass everything in your one brand. Social media, household name. Well, I love that, Laura Beth. Yeah. The perfect market. Okay. Here is, and please keep typing in here as we go. But here's what I'm thinking. Based upon this, I am going to share one core thing that I think would help the most, that would be most encompassing for everybody's challenge and what you're looking for. And then maybe we can open it up for Q&A and dialogue at the end. Does that sound okay to everybody? So, okay, awesome. So let me do this. I'm going to share, let me actually get to, I'm going to move along here a little bit in my slides. Okay, here we go. So let me share this with everyone. Okay, because everyone see my screen okay? Yeah, okay, beautiful. So I saw this a number of times in the chat, and this is almost invariably the number one challenge that we hear from clients, whether you're a more established business owner and entrepreneur, or whether you're first starting out, is how the heck do I rise above the noise, right? Especially when there's to date, there's so much noise. It can feel like there's so much competition, that I want to invite you into thinking a little bit differently about how to rise above the noise. And this will also answer the question of positioning yourself, the perfect market I saw in there too. So I think this will be a good all-encompassing conversation. So has anybody ever heard of Peter Sheehan? Is anyone familiar with this guy? So he's a coach, he's a consultant, he's a speaker, and he basically studies brands that rise to the top of their class. So he studies this in the corporate space. So think Coca-Cola, Walmart, et cetera. What is it that they do differently from everybody else to rise above the noise. And so we took his model because he found that they did one specific thing. We took his model, applied it to personal brands, and hence we have She Hands Wall for you. So this is the challenge today that most people feel like they're up against. And give me like a yes. Once I explain it, give me a yes in the chat if you were like, oh my gosh, sister, I totally feel this. Like I feel like I'm bumping up against this. So what Peter says is in every space, in every industry, there's this invisible wall. Essentially, you've got an invisible wall. And on one side, you've got people who are really well known. And on the other side, you've got people who are not as well known, right? The unknown. And what's happening is on the side of the unknown, everyone wants to break through. So they're like, they want the clients, the money, the opportunities, the impact, the followers. But here's the reason why 95% of people never get through to that other side is that they don't have clarity on some really important questions. So they end up coming at it, trying to solve all different types of problems for people, right? It's like, I can be all things to all people. Or they share, like they get educated at all these different things, thinking if I just get, who here has said, if I can just get one more certification, then I can promote myself, then I can market myself, then I'll be valid, right? So we can get really caught up in that. Or like, I don't have enough experience. So they come at it that way, or they try all these different processes, all these different models to break through the wall. They invest in all these different tools, or like, if I do this social media platform or that platform, then I can break through, or selling and using all these different products. And so what happens is you end up coming at the wall, but from all these different angles. And there's never anything that's strong enough or focused enough to break through. And what happens is there's too much commoditization and not enough uniqueness. Who can relate to that, of feeling like you've been like trying to bump, like you want to break through the wall, but I'm seeing heads nodding, or give me, yeah. So heads nodding, yes, in the comments. And it feels so frustrating, right? Because you feel like I'm putting in so much time and so much effort, and I'm like pounding on social media all day, every day. And if I do one more Instagram story, I'm going to cry because I feel like I'm doing this and nobody's responding. I was saying yes, right? And it's so frustrating. I know it's so frustrating because I did that for so many years too. Megan saying yes, yeah. And so here's the thing, and this is the key. This is the number one key to breaking through the wall. By this guy with amazing style. Does anybody know Larry Winget? Is anybody a Larry Winget fan? He was like the pit bull of personal development, right? He says, this is the key. You have to find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. Find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. Now that word exploit can feel a little bit like, do I want to exploit it? And we'll talk about what that means, but really it's use it in the service of others. And to Gay's point in the comments of, it doesn't feel natural to try all those different things, right? It's because you think you have to be someone else to be successful, and that will never work. So what I want to invite you into thinking about today is that the more you are you, the more successful you will be. And the more clear you are on what you're about, what you're for, and what you're not for, the more the right people will find you. So I invite everyone to stop thinking you have to be all things to all people in order to generate customers, and to start really owning your uniqueness, your brilliance, your exceptional you-ness. It's kind of like Sally Hogshead says, different is better than better. How are you different? And going all in on that. And so how do we do that? So this is the model I want to teach you today, and that will help you with everything from your positioning, your messaging, finding your target audience, et cetera. And it's something we call the brand DNA helix. And this is what will help you when you get clear on this. It will help you break through that wall to the side of the known, where everything changes. So once you're on the side of the known, that's where it shifts from more of the push, like you're reaching out, you're having to introduce yourself, you're proactively prospecting and generating more leads, to a pull. Wouldn't it be nice? Like, who here would be, oh my gosh, heck yeah, if it was all pull, like clients just coming to me all day long and I didn't have to keep promoting myself. And we have to do that at the beginning too, right? So that's part of it. But imagine, what would life be like if you had a steady stream of inbound clients who were just coming to you because they already felt like they knew you, they were clear on what you were all about, They wanted to work with you specifically, and you didn't have to send more cold emails or do whatever the things are that we're doing to prospect leads, right? I know, I love the answer. And yeah, exactly. Same. So this is how we do it. It's by getting clear on what we call your brand DNA. And so it's just like we all look different because we have different genetic DNA. You also have your own unique brand DNA that makes you and you different. And when we're working with our clients privately or in workshops, we take them through this series of 6 different questions. And when you answer the questions, you will find a common thread through all of them that will help you uncover your unique brand DNA that you can then use in the service of others, right? Find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. So for today, I'm doing like a high level for each of these. And I would really encourage you, like, write these down, run through them with a friend, like get somebody else's opinion on these for you. I'll tell you how to, like, if you want to book a call after this with one of our team members to get more help, like we have a free call about it. So, but write these down and spend more time with them because they are really important to help you uncover your uniqueness. The first and the most important, and the one that almost nobody can answer is, what problem do you solve? And part of why this is, I think what people get kind of mixed up with personal branding is they think it's about them, which it's a personal brand, right? Isn't that always it's about you? No, it's actually not about you at all. Your personal brand is about the problem you solve for other people. And so we want to get really clear on what is that one word problem that you solve for other people. So for example, in my sales coaching business for women, the problem I solve is actually suppression. And I know that sounds like a strong and heavy word, but it's what I found in my own experience and the experience of the clients I work with is that as we are growing up, we tend to suppress our instincts. We suppress our desires. It's like we don't want to stand out. So we try to make ourselves small. And over time, that leads us to suppress our voice, suppress our earnings potential, suppress our visibility. And so it's really about unlocking that and solving that problem and helping women learn to trust themselves again so they can show up and earn and sell as their most powerful selves. But you want to know, what's that one word problem that I'm going to be known for solving in the world? And you can just think about, like, if your perfect client came to you and said, like, Eileen, I'm really struggling with this right now, what would they say? What would you fill in the blanks? And it doesn't have to be groundbreaking. Like Gay mentioned in the intro that, we work with some top podcasters. One of our clients is a guy named Lewis Howes. Some of you may listen to School of Greatness, and his problem he solves is self-doubt. And that's a very simple problem, right? That's a simple problem. So it doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but he's built a very successful brand and business off of solving that problem. And so it's very simple. It's not usually sexy. It's a very clear, simple problem. What do you solve for people? People buy solutions to problems at the end of the day. That's what they want, is solutions to problems. So what's that one word problem you're going to be known for solving in the world? Now, the balancing question to that, and you'll see these questions kind of like stack on top of each other. The balancing question to that is, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? Just listening to all of your stories and your backgrounds and what you do, like, you could solve probably 100 different problems for people just based upon life experience. So that's where we want to balance it with, well, what do you care about? Like, what are you passionate about? What lights your heart on fire? What could you talk about forever and not get tired of? If you were going to write your next book, right, with Betty, like, what is the thing that you would want to write about? What could you lock yourself in a room and write about for 6 months and not get tired of talking about? So what are you passionate about? And so we want to balance it. We want to balance the problem we solve with what we're passionate about. So these two things combined, what we're looking for there is, what do you want your brand to be about? So if it could be about anything, what would you want it to be about? The second set of questions is more, what are you well positioned for it to be about? So 2 things you want to look at there. Number 1, what are you an expert on? What are you an expert on? Now, here's something really important, because I've coached both men and women. And I find that women, I'm not big on like making a generalization, but I just have found this a lot with women. They tend to get more hung up on like, who am I to be an expert on this, right? I want you to remember, to be an expert, you just need to know a little more than the person you're helping. That's it. So let's all stop playing small and acting like we're not experts in what we do. And I'm sure meant like just hearing you talk, like I don't hear that in the energy of the women in this group, but I do hear that in private conversations with a lot of women, is like fear of who am I to position myself as an expert. So to be an expert, you just need to know a little more than the person you're talking to. Okay. And so when we talk about expertise, yes, Yoka, the question is, what are you an expert on? Think about this kind of like book smarts. So this can be, what degrees do you have? What certifications do you have? What programs have you done as it pertains to your field? The balancing question of this, though, is what have you earned the right to talk about? So this is question number 4. What have you actually earned the right to talk about? And I don't know how many of you, like I get frustrated when I see, for some reason, I see a lot of these ads on YouTube where it's like somebody walking around in front of a Lamborghini and they're talking about like, oh, I just made $1 million this weekend off this online course, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I know you rented that. Like, I know that's not your car. I lovingly know that you're living in your parents' basement right now. Like, stop acting like you know what I mean? Like, does anyone else get frustrated when they see this? And so this is actually, to me, this is even more important, is what have you earned the right to talk about? So thinking about who was it who was doing Julianne, health coaching, right? Like for you, and I don't know you well, but I'm just guessing there's probably something personal in your background where you felt inspired to go into health coaching, right? Or for anyone, like we are most powerfully positioned to serve the person we used to be. And so think about what challenges have you overcome? What obstacles have you faced? What's your superpower? This is part of why I'm so passionate about teaching women how to sell in an aligned way, teaching them to trust themselves, is because I suppressed my instincts for so many years. I struggled with so much anxiety. I had an eating disorder for many years because I just wasn't like comfortable in myself and with my body. I struggled with a lot of body image issues. And I found that translated into everything in my business too. And when I really learned how to heal that and how to trust myself and love myself again, everything shifted and I started selling way more, making more money, et cetera. So I care about I care about that because those are big challenges I've overcome in my life. And so think about it. And if, maybe your business isn't directly related to a challenge you've overcome, but what are the results you've gotten your clients? What challenges have you helped your clients overcome? So those two things, what you're an expert on, and then what you've earned the right to talk about, those really tell you, this is my position. This is what I'm most powerfully positioned to build my brand on. So if I'm going to speak on a stage or write a book or launch a podcast, here's where I can feel really confident in my positioning as the expert and the leader here. And then the final set of questions is really more about business growth and profitability and scaling. And so I know most everyone here has a business, but I also heard like Yoka, launching the jewelry business, and there's different like new revenue streams being launched too. So maybe this is helpful to just take a moment on, is if you were going to start from scratch, how would you make money? The other piece you can think about is, I know there's a lot of women here who are in service-based businesses, which is great. I'm there too. And there's a limit in terms of how much time you have in the day, right? At the end of the day, it's like you can only see so many clients. You can only do so many keynotes before there's no more hours in the day. So one of the things I would really encourage everyone to think about is, it's like the average millionaire has 7 different revenue streams, right? So as you scale and grow, what are the additional revenue streams you can build out in your business? And so we look at, what would people be willing to buy from you? So think about, and you can even just do a brain dump list. And I don't have a slide on this, so I'm going to actually type this in the chat. There's something that we call the DARES, DARES. So you can make a list for your area of expertise of everything someone would be willing to buy from you. Everything digital, everything automated, everything recurring, everything evergreen, and then everything scalable. And so you can think about like, and that actually ties in with this second question, which is what business do you want to be in, right? Because if you want to get out of the time for money game, we want to be able to scale. So just doing a brain dump list of what are all the different things somebody would buy from you, products, courses, books, merchandise, et cetera. And then looking at, for those things, how many of these boxes do they check? How many of the dares do they check? And one of our clients, actually, Lewis, I mentioned earlier, like when he went through this was so transformational for him because he realized so much of what he was doing required time for money. So he put this list up on his wall. And every time he has a new business opportunity, he looks at how many dares does it check off? Because the more of these you can say yes to, the more time freedom you're going to have. And so there was a question someone had asked about, like, how do I find my niche and my market? And it really lives at the intersection of these two sets of questions. So the top three, the top of the brand helix, this is really, who does the world need you to be? How are you being called to be of service? The bottom three are, who were you designed to be? Why were you put on this earth? And where your uniqueness lies is at the intersection of these. When you find that beautiful alignment between who does the world need you to be and why did God make you, right? Who are you designed to be? That's where you find your uniqueness. And that's also where your core audience lives as well. So your uniqueness will typically determine the people you're best positioned to serve, remembering that you are most powerfully positioned to serve the person you used to be as well. And so if you were going to do this tactically, I would literally just do a brain dump list for each of these questions. Get somebody else to help you though, because you don't see yourself the way other people do. Right? How many of us can relate to this? Like the things that come naturally to you, you think are easy for everybody. No, they are your superpowers, my friend. But we just don't see it. We often don't see the forest for the trees. So get some help with it. And I will also I want to just open it up for Q&A. I know we've got like 4 minutes. If anybody wants to connect on this further or get some help, we do offer a free, a complimentary strategy call. Oh, you're so welcome, Betty. I'm so glad it was helpful. And so I'm just going to type my email in there. If anybody wants to send over, it's okay if I just say, if anybody wants to send over an email, let me know. I'm happy.